So I'm still using that same example from previous videos, and I have everything set up so that the face is connected to the body, the hands are connected to their respective arms, etc. So one thing that I might want to do now is say I wanted to rotate the arm. Well, I can go down here, as we know, to transform. I can turn on rotation. But if I use the rotation tool and rotate the arm, it rotates oddly. This is because the anchor point of this particular layer is not set correctly. The anchor point is the one part of this that I hadn't really gone over yet. That's the point at which any sort of transformation occurs. Usually we think of it more in terms of rotation, but it's everything else as well, including scaling. So if I want to change that, I can double click. I make sure that I have that selected. I double click on the arm, and that will bring me directly into the layer of the left arm. So this right here, this little target looking thing, is the anchor point. I can actually move this. And you'll notice as I move it down in the left that the anchor point measurements are changing. So I could use the little slider here if I wanted to, but honestly I find it just easier to go ahead and move it right there. If I put it in the middle of this arm, that anytime I rotate the arm, it's going to rotate from this point. So that's not very natural. What we want to keep in mind is that it's attached to the body, so I want to have it rotate from about here. I can just close this, and then that takes us back to the main composition. Now you notice when I did that it actually moved the layer. I can click and hold down and move it back to where it was. I'm going to do the same thing to the right arm. However, I need to have that actually selected. So right arm is now selected in here. I could also double click it down here, but honestly it's a little bit easier to read it right here. Double click it. Now I move the anchor right there. I can close it, and then I have to move this. So now if I want to, I can go ahead and on this arm, I can click the little stopwatch. I'm on the very first frame. I can move to say 5 seconds in, grab the rotation tool, W, and now I can rotate. And it rotates from that anchor point that we have set. Now, of course, with regards to rotating an arm, it's kind of tricky because I probably should have put the sleeve onto the arm instead of having it separate. But that's just something to keep in mind for next time. Now, the same is also true of the legs. If I want to set the legs, I would keep that in mind. I'll click here, left leg. So I'm going to move that there. And now I'm going to double click right leg, because I can just do that. I actually don't have to close them and then go back. And I close it. But now I've got to move these things back to something approximating a good position. There we go. I have the auto keyframing turned on so that I don't have to remember to turn things on and all of that shenanigans. But I am going to need to set my initial keyframes for various things. So what I want to do is actually I'm going to have the character jump up and get smaller, because why not? So I'm going to do Alt or Option P for position. Then I'm going to go to 5 seconds in, and I just choose 5 seconds randomly. And I'm going to move the character up. I'm also going to go back to the 0 point, and I'm going to do Alt Option S, which is for scale. Then I'm going to go back to about the 5 second mark, and then I'm going to make it smaller. Now I'm going to hold down Shift to constrain the proportions. So now if I scrub back and forth, the character is getting smaller. However, what I also want to do then is to go to the left leg. I'm going to do Alt Option R for rotate. I'm going to go 5 seconds in, use the rotate tool. Now I'm going to rotate it out. I'm going to go back to the 0 point, go to the right leg layer, Alt Option R for rotate to set the keyframe. Go back to 5. Still have the rotation tool selected because I've just been using that. Go like that. I'm going to do the same thing to the left arm. Go back to 0. You know, and I could set all of these things at the same time. I'm just showing you repetition-wise so that you kind of hear it over and over again. Move the arm up, And maybe for the right arm, go to 5 seconds in, rotate that. So now, as I scrub back and forth, we have a bit of an issue here. What's going on? Well, let's see here. I might not have hit Alt-Option-R because I was kind of in a hurry. So the neat thing is I can actually go ahead and go back to right arm and then bring that down. And it's going to automatically put the keyframe in because I have that auto keyframe selected. So now, this is why you want to scrub stuff back and forth quite a lot. You can see if you mess up something. Now, characters flinging back, raising arms and legs as though doing jumping jacks.